On the first Thursday of every month in the Unmute Presents podcast feed, you can hear Chris talk about Braille and the technology used with Braille then and now. This show's at your fingertips, and you can get it by subscribing to the Unmute Presents podcast feed. Make sure that you're subscribed or head on over to unmute.show to search out old episodes. It is Michael, and today for this digital bite, I'm going to walk you through a workflow that I have needed to put together. I demonstrated this back in 2023, but I figure it's time to do it yet again. Today, we're going to use the Hazel application, which is a file management app on the Mac, and we're going to watch a folder in my Dropbox for flac files that are older than 1 hour and then delete those files. Actually, maybe I'll do 1 day just because sometimes it might take me a little while. And this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to start in the applications folder from Finder by pressing Command-Shift-A. And then I'm going to tap H for Hazel.
Hazel.app, application.
And we'll open Hazel.app.
Open. Hazel window, table, row 2 of 2, downloads. Selected as keyboard focus.
Hazel has a fairly simple interface once you get familiar with it. Right now, we're in a table with folders that Hazel is currently watching. I have the downloads folder highlighted, but if I interact with this table,
in table, row 2 of 2, down,
I can tap my up arrow,
folders,
and you hear that is folders. Well, in this case, we're going to stop interacting with the folders.
Out of table.
And if I press Command-O, this will open a new folder that we can watch. Now that I've done that, I'm going to hit VO end.
Open button.
And then I'm going to VO left arrow a couple of times.
Can't column view browser, row 1 of 1.
There's my column view browser. So if I interact with that,
speed test 1.
And I'm going to hit Command-Shift-H, type in DR, tap right arrow.
8th September Babcocken.
Type in apps, APPS.
Apps group.
And then I'm going to tap right arrow.
Ophonic group.
And that's the folder that I want to watch. So I'm going to hit enter.
Table, row 3 of 3, row 3 of 3, selected, closing dialog toolbar. In table, row 3 of 3, Ophonic, selected, Ophonic, level 1.
And I see that Ophonic and
downloads
are the two folders in here. So I'm going to go back down to Ophonic. And I'm going to stop interacting.
Out of table.
If I press VO right arrow, I'll hear
vertical split rules, empty table.
Rules empty table. So I can press Command-N to create a new rule for this folder.
New rule.
And I'm going to call this rule, and I can just type it right here.
Selection
delete
replaced.
older flac.
Selection replaced. F.
Files. And you can verify that.
Delete older FLAC files.
And I'm going to press VO right arrow.
Show note button. Add a note to your rule.
I don't want to add a note to my rule.
Show note toggle but scroll area. Scroll area.
There's a scroll area here, and this is for me to set up my rule. So I'm going to interact with the scroll area.
In scroll area, 8 items, if.
And this gives me 8 items. And Hazel works on a rule system. So by default, it's going to say if I press VO right arrow.
All pop-up button of the following conditions are met.
And we can change all if we want. I'll demonstrate that for you.
All pop-up button. Menu, 3 items checkmark, all. Any. None.
And I want all of the rules to be correct.
Any checkmark, all.
That is checked.
Closing menu, all pop-up button.
So we'll tap VO right arrow.
The following conditions are met. Table, no selection.
And this gives us a table. If we interact with this table,
name, pop-up button.
We have name.
Name pop-up button is pop-up button. Remove condition dim button. Add condition menu button.
So I'm going to interact with this cell.
In name pop-up button is pop-up button. Remove condition dim button. Add condition menu button. Cell 5 items has alternate items. Name pop-up
and
button.
We're on name pop-up button. I'm going to hit VO space and just cycle through so you can hear all of the conditions we can base these on. There are quite a few, just so you know.
Menu 24 items checkmark. Name. Extension. Full name. Date added. Date created. Date last modified. Date last opened. Date last matched. Current time. Kind. Tags. Color label. Comment. Size. Locked. Contents. Source URL/address. Subfolder depth. Subfile/folder count. Any file. Passes AppleScript. Passes JavaScript. Passes shell script. Other ellipsis. checkmark name, extension.
And for this case, I'm going to go to extension because my actions I want to take is if a file with an extension of .flac is included in this folder for more than 1 day, then I want it to move that file to the trash to keep my Alphonic folder clean.
Closing menu.
Now I have
Extension. Pop-up button.
And with the is pop-up, you can actually change that as well. I'll show you that real quick.
Menu. 14 items checkmark is not, contains, does not contain, starts with, does not start with, ends with, does not end with, matches, does not match, did change, did not change, is blank, is not blank, checkmark is.
And I'm going to put is.
Closing menu is.
And then if I press VO right arrow,
edit text. Blank.
We have an edit text. So I'm going to type in the letters FLAC and tap VO right arrow.
Remove condition, dimmed button.
I don't want to remove this condition, but I do want to add one more condition and know that Hazel will interpret the conditions from top to bottom. So if a file has a .flac extension, it's going to move to the next rule and say, is that file greater than 1 day old? Let's VO right arrow.
Add condition menu button.
I'm going
Add
to press
condition after this one. Hold down option to add a nested condition.
I'm going to press VO space.
Menu, 2 items.
And we have 2 items.
Add condition. Add nested condition.
I'm going to just add a condition.
Add condition. Closing menu. Add condition menu button.
And now we have 2 conditions in this table. If we stop interacting with the cell.
Out of, flac, extension pop-up button, is pop-up button, remove condition button, add condition menu button, cell 5 items, has alternate items.
And then we can down arrow, or I'm pressing number 2 on my numpad.
Name pop-up button is pop.
And we need to change this to
in name pop-up button. Menu, extension, full name, date added, date created.
Date created.
Closing menu is pop-up button.
Is
date added, pop-up button.
And I don't want to put date added. Let's see what options we have here.
11 items check, date created, date last modified, date last opened, date last matched. Today, this week, this month, this quarter, this year, specific date, specific date.
And as you can see, we kind of mess this up. So I'm going to switch this to today.
This week, today.
And we'll press VO space.
Closing menu, today.
And right now, this rule is going to only delete FLAC files whose date last added was today. I don't want that. I want it to say was not today. So we'll press VO left arrow.
Is pop-up button.
And we'll drop this down.
Menu, 17 items checkmark is.
And I'm going to change this to
is not
today.
Closing menu.
And then if we stop interacting.
Out of, date created pop-up button, is not pop-up button, today pop-up button, remove condition button, add condition menu button, cell 5 items, has alternate items.
I'm going to up arrow.
Flac, extension pop-up button, is pop-up button, remove condition button, add condition menu button.
And then if I press VO down.
Date created pop-up button, is not pop-up button, today pop-up button, remove condition button, add condition menu button.
Okay, so that gives us something to work with. Before we finish setting this rule up, I want to go show you something real quick. I'm going to hit Command Tab.
Finder.
And I'm going to actually pull up this Alphonic folder. So I'm going to hit Command Shift H.
Home.
Type in DR.
ACB.
Type in Apps.
Apps, folder.
Tap right arrow.
Alphonic group.
And tap right arrow.
TW109, Damashi.flac group.
Now, if I do a Command A.
27 items selected.
You hear that there are 27 items selected.
Alphonic group.
In this instance, we want to change this. So I'm going to tap my left arrow to close this folder. And then I'm going to press Command Tab.
Hazel.
And we're going to stop interacting with this table for the rules.
Out of table.
If I press VO right arrow.
Do the following to the match file or folder.
Do the following to the match file or folder. And this is the magic of Hazel. I'm going to press VO right arrow.
Table. No selection.
If I interact with this table.
Move. Pop-up button.
I can move.
To folder. Move
to folder.
Button. No folder selected. To folder. To folder. No folder selected. Pop-up button. Options more button. Remove action dimmed button. Add action button. Selected. To folder. Move pop-up button.
So I'm going to interact with this cell.
In. To folder.
And I'm going to press VO left arrow.
Move. Pop-up button.
And this gives me a pop-up. And like the other pop-ups, I'm going to demonstrate for you what you can do with a file.
Menu. 30 items checkmark. Move. Copy. Rename. Sort into subfolder. Sync. Upload. Add tags. Remove tags. Set color label. Add comment. Toggle extension. Toggle lock. Archive. Unarchive. Open. Show in Finder. Make alias. Import into music. Import into Photos. Import into TV. Run shortcut. Run Apple script. Run JavaScript. Run Automator workflow. Run shell script. Pause. Run rules on folder contents. Continue matching rules. Display notification. Ignore. Checkmark move.
And for this case, I'm going to hit move.
Closing menu. Move.
And then I'll press VO right arrow.
To folder.
And we can pick to folder.
No folder selected. Pop-up button.
And I'm going to pop this up.
Menu. 6 items checkmark. No folder selected. And closing folder. Monitored folder. Trash. Other ellipsis. Show in Finder. Dimmed.
And for this case, I'm going to choose
Checkmark. No folder and monitored folder. Trash.
And we'll press VO space.
Trash.
And we'll press
Macintosh HD right pointing small triangle. Users right pointing small triangle. Mic right pointing small triangle. Trash.
And we'll press VO right arrow.
Options. Dimmed button. Remove action. Add action. Add action. But
so in that case, I think that's it. I actually want to do something that I'll find to be very annoying, but for demonstration purposes, we'll do this. I'm going to hit VO space on add action, and then I'm going to stop interacting.
Out of. To folder.
And then I'm going to VO down arrow.
To folder.
And I want to change this one.
In. To folder. To fold. Move. Pop-up button.
To
menu. Ignore. Display notification.
Display notification.
Closing menu. With pattern. Edit text. Blank. Embedded file attached text. Embedded time attached text. Embedded rule attached. Embedded folder attached. Help button. Done.
And we have all of these patterns we can use. So I'm going to put
embedded time attached. Embedded file attached text. Embedded file attached text. Insertion at end of text.
If I press VO space on that rule, I can put file was just moved to trash. Now it'll say
embedded file was just moved to trash.
And I'm going to press VO right arrow. Note, this will make Hazel a heck of a lot more verbose than it typically is. However, I wanted to demonstrate this for you.
Embedded help done button.
I located done and I'll press VO space.
Now in Hazel window.
And then we'll press VO end.
Save default
to
button.
Locate the save button. When I press this,
rules table, row 1 of 1. Delete older FLAC files. Checkbox selected.
You hear that there's now delete older FLAC files, and it is checked.
Hazel notifier, Hazel alert, TW106, Damashi.flac was just moved to trash group.
And as you heard, about 30 seconds after we saved the rule, it automatically ran that rule and deleted some of the files. We'll go take a look at those files in a moment, and I only let it play one of those notifications. However, I think that if you want, you can hit VOO.
Notification Center, window, Dropbox,
and then press VO right arrow.
App Store, update stacked summary, Hazel notifier, TW106, Damashi.flac, TW108, Damashi.flac, and others moved to trash group.
So you can hear that the summary advised that several files were moved to the trash. I'm going to tap Escape to exit Notification Center.
Hazel window.
And then we'll press Command Tab.
Finder, Ophonic window.
If I tap my right arrow key, remember there were 27 items here. Now there are only 3 items in this particular folder instead of 27. You can set Hazel to move files to different places. You don't have to just go to the trash. But Hazel is one of those apps that once you set it up, it constantly runs. When it doesn't run, then you wonder, what's going on with my files? And can help you with organizing your files and folders on macOS automatically with either notifications, or it can do it just silently in the background. We can Command Q out of Hazel, and the beauty is Hazel continues to run without us having to intervene.
Hi, everyone. It's Chris, and I'm back with a digital byte that I am very excited about. I just discovered that you can get BRF or Braille Ready files, user guides for all Apple products. Now, don't worry and don't check out if you don't read Braille, because there's a solution for you. So this evening, I was perusing the Apple Accessibility website by going to support.apple/accessibility. And there are tons of support articles over there. And one of the things, quite a ways down the page, was a heading that said Braille files. And I was so excited because I thought, wow, who does this? So I found out that there were Braille Ready files for all of Apple's products. So a Mac user guide, iPhone, Watch, HomePod, Apple TV, and Apple Vision Pro. Now, the really exciting thing is that there is one particular user guide that is made just for VoiceOver, and that is the one for the Mac. So it's the VoiceOver user guide for Mac, and it is in 4 Braille volumes. They are electronic files that you can download directly. I did find out when I downloaded the folders of these various products that in the big folder, there are some files that have a dot and an underline for some reason before the title, and then you scroll down your file list and find then the regular names with no dot and no underline, and they're perfectly readable. Now, if you have a Braille display or an NLS e-reader or some other e-reader from your country, you'll be able to open these files. And I thought, well, I don't want to leave the non-Braille readers out. So apparently I just learned or relearned that you can play a BRF file on some of these Talking Book digital players. I believe the Victor Reader Stream does this. So in case you feel left out, there is no need to do so because you can play these user guides on your reader of choice, whether it's an audiobook reader or if you want to read them on your Braille display. And like I say, the versions for the other products other than Mac are guides that are written for everybody. And it seems like the transcribers have taken great pains to describe icons and to put web addresses for links for more information, especially in the iOS guide that I was reading. By the way, the iOS guide is 25 Braille volumes, so imagine stowing that away for iOS 18. But it will take up very little space on your book player or Braille device, and you will get descriptions of those buttons, and it seems like the directions for doing things are pretty straightforward, like tap on this. And if you're a VoiceOver user, you would know that would be double tap. And so I feel like just after my general perusal, these are accessible and they're a really great resource. So in case you'd like to check these out, I've put a link in the show notes and you can go to support.apple.com/accessibility. And if you have any feedback for us and want to get in touch, you can also send us an email at feedback@unmute.show.
Here is an easy way to restart your device using Siri. So what you want to do is activate Siri, then say restart my device. Then it will prompt you for a second option, which will say, are you sure you want to restart your device? You say yes, and then it restarts your device. And then it comes back up, and you're good to go. Just that easy, not having to go through or navigate through any menus. So if you're looking to restart your device quickly, there you go.